Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derbies, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to episode 216 of the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, coming to you from the North Park building here at Academy Square. Busy weekend for everybody involved. A couple things that we need to hit on right at the top of the show. Thinking right now, I got thrown off track a little bit, and it's one of those things where the fates help bring things into perspective as a whole. I got to see Tegan and Todd Wire celebrating a birthday over the weekend. I got to see Tegan and Cora Kay and everybody, and Tegan was in the pool having a ball, and his dad kept telling him to get out of the pool, and he came over and he had a ball with him. And I said, give me that ball real quick. Let me see that ball. And I took it and I threw that thing right back at the pool. I said, go get the ball. Go jump back in the pool, you know. And Todd thought I was being mean about it. He thought I was being a dick, but I wasn't. I was trying to say, hey, go ahead. Go enjoy the pool, you know. And Tegan, as I found out just 5 minutes ago, is been admitted to the hospital right now with a real bad infection in his cheek. So we hope Tegan gets well. Tegan, the mini-me, got to ride with Josh, unfortunately. And Jeffy, because Josh broke the transmission. Didn't have to go any further than that. One of the 11 transmissions that were broken in Florida. Todd Wire, again, as we said, having a birthday down there. So thinking of Tegan, and it's nice to have that information come to us, because I tell you what, at the start of the show, I was still over the course of the weekend, I'm still pretty frustrated, and I don't know if angry is the right word. I'm frustrated, definitely, as part of it. Matt Kingry, Corey Neer, Kevin Rouse, all having birthdays as well, and best wishes out to. Saw a lot of people that lost grandparents over the weekend just due to deaths. Thinking of all, our thoughts are with all of them. And Jeremy Ertman, who thankfully has been discharged from the hospital, and he's back home because he can lay at home just as easily as he can lay at the hospital as he recovers from his illness last week that left him laid up for 4 days. And hopefully Jeremy listens to the doctors and doesn't take his laying at home as code to let him lay in one of the ice palaces while he tries to fish while laying on his back. But we all know Jeremy, and I anticipate seeing pictures of walleye here within a couple hours.
Absolutely.
But this weekend we did a doubleheader, and it was a challenge, to say the least. Down in Florida, Josh, Brian, and Ben took the helm of trying to run the live stream, and when they got down there, they were faced with some major changes of plans. Ben ended up doing a portion of tech inspection. Josh was assisting on the grounds when they had a number of different things change duties. In the midst of all that, when we did our dry run on Monday, before everybody had left, before we all split up, we had to run an update on the laptop, and I never went back in and checked the audio settings, and I'm pretty sure that that's the reason why everybody had issues with the sound in it. It didn't have the USB codec that was set up the way that it was supposed to in the streamer, because after we did the update, it didn't stream right. The guys wouldn't even know it unless they pulled it up and listened to it themselves, because the headphones listen directly to the microphones.
I don't know if that was it or not.
And ultimately, at the end of the day, for anybody, first off, to come out and say that because it was a freaking free show that we decided to mail shit in and not do a good job or not take it serious, you apparently haven't tuned into anything that we've done in the last 5 freaking years.
I missed that.
Zero.
That post.
The PMs, I get it. All that other side of things, I get it. I get it. You're angry. I get that part. And, you know, for people to try to volunteer to take up torches and perpetuate some bullshit feuds that have been going on now that we have tried adamantly to stay out of the middle of, let it go. It's over. It's freaking over. Enough already. You know, we're trying to better the sport as a whole, and it is relentless that the sport will not allow any one thing to do better. You know, and I'm not a person. Again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then great. But at the end of the day, we've put a lot of time and energy into this, and I don't come out to cut corners or anything along those lines. And I'm not one to make excuses. If I came out and said that the show was bad because of this, whatever, it's making excuses. I'm coming out here right now and saying the reason why there was issues with the audio is because I missed this setting, period. End of discussion. The camera side of things, we had a lot of changes on site that we weren't ready for, and it is what it is. That I can't offer a whole lot of control on that side of things because I was in Minnesota dealing with some battles of our own. And, you know, it's something that I'm passionate about and a little bitter about, but again, it really doesn't mean anything at this point when you got a little kid like Tegan who's been through the absolute ringer as many times as he has, that just got put back in the hospital for something silly like an infection. Now he's going to be in the hospital with another IV in his arm with more antibiotics and stuff for 24 hours, but it sucks.
Absolutely. We're definitely thinking about our buddy Tegan. He did ride with Josh, and unfortunately Josh and Jeffy both had some issues down there in Josh's car. To get back what Chris started out with, we got there Saturday morning early, and we're kind of I'm trying to look for a diplomatic word, unceremoniously told how things were going to go with some stuff. So throughout the day, like Chris said, we all kind of helped where we could and did what we could. And, the show didn't start right the way we were hoping. But, like Chris said, there was some audio issues. But I don't believe it was super widespread because we had a lot of people texting us and IMing us there saying that they didn't have any issues. So I think some of it could have been from home. We also had a sound system that was not ours with very large speakers pointing towards our room of doom we were in for the doing the announcing.
The room of doom.
That was definitely not helping. I actually started to listen today and started to watch the playback, and as soon as it started, all I could hear was the stuff in the background, and so I want to apologize for that. That was beyond our control. I do want to say I believe that as a whole the show probably triple the cars that were there last year, which I was told by people that were there. Yep. There was definitely track issues between the track being so soft and the team cars being so hard. There was no give.
Sure.
It was breaking the softest things, which in generally was the aluminum transmission or, ball housings and so on and so forth. Not a lot I can say right now, except that things are going to get better. Stay tuned. Don't write that show off. Something I do also want to touch on, Chris may not like this, and that's fine because I've made Chris mad before. But it really annoys me as a Derby fan, when we're trying to bring something to the Derby world as a whole, and it doesn't cost anyone on the computer anything to watch it. It's not a pay-per-view. And yet they they send texts or IMs. They're disrespectful. Was there some issues with the camera? Absolutely. But what people don't understand is that at that time it was going on, it was just Ben and I in the booth. And as we're talking about a fact, generally when you talk to people, you look at them. So Ben and I were talking to each other, carrying on a conversation, talking about what was the on-track action, and unfortunately, the action moved. As soon as, the camera, it was fixed. Again, this is the first time that any of us have had to run a camera since, I don't know.
Last time you were down there.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Last time you were down there.
Yes, there was issues, and we apologize for that. But again, it is free. It's not costing you any money. And if you want to send us an email or a text about it, that's fine. Say, hey, watch the camera. But to say, you guys suck and stuff like that, that's just disrespectful. And I really do try to be respectful to everybody, even with some of the messages that I got on the Crash Course page. I just tried pointing out, hey, it was free, or it is free. We're doing, some mistakes, and guys just continued like I was wrong, and I handled it the best I could. But again, it's frustrating. But for the 8,900 people that have watched it already, probably, I don't know, 8,800 of them enjoyed it.
We'll get the YouTube audit and find out what the numbers actually were. So the people that cut out and tuned in, and you're right. And I
to the people that enjoyed it, thank you. Please continue supporting us, because we're going to continue to do great things, because that's what we do. But for those that don't like it, that's your opinion, and that's fine. And but the funny thing is for those of the people that don't like it and seem to make the nasty comments, it always seems that they're watching our shows. It's kind of strange how that happens.
At the end of the day, I don't ever want to fall back on you're watching a free production as the reason to dismiss a problem. I want it to be the best production possible out there every time we go out, and unfortunately, this one wasn't where we needed it to be. And I know what the problems are, and we'll tend to that as such. Randy Mosloski, who right now I don't know yet if he has recovered from all the different degrees of frostbite that he had from this weekend at WinterSLAM. A very chilly day, but the stands were packed. It was an outstanding show. They ran through 140 cars. They started on time at 2 o'clock, and we were done at 6:30.
Wow, that's awesome.
Pretty sweet. Pretty awesome. Sweet. So we're going to be catching up with Randy here momentarily. He is waiting in the wings. We're also going to be talking to one Andrew Shipp. Shippy from the United Kingdom got his first taste of Demolition Derby action. He's a banger racer. He showed some pictures of his cars, like Volvos, wagons, and stuff. Oh, my God, it was ridiculous. Some results from WinterSLAM. First and foremost, Kurt Brinkman coming away with the win. What a show he and Brett Nelson put on, going nose to nose a number of times, laying on each other, and unfortunately Brett Nelson, as hard as he was driving through the course of the night, lost reverse, and then the front drive looked like that was slipping on him too, so he ended up taking the stick down. Kurt Brinkman winning that. They went 1 and 2 in the reverse order in the Mad Dog voting, so first and second place went second and first place in Mad Dog. That's awesome. And it was well deserved. Compact side of things, Josh Freese won that one. Brad Lohner, Laurer won number 1 Mad Dog, and he probably was going to win it, and then something funky happened to him. John Schultz was also up there in the Mad Dog voting number 2. Josh Freese, great run, but I almost feel a little bit like he stole it because Brad was doing so well. I mean, he was just wrecking stuff end to end. Steve Rowan, a well-deserved win in the 80s class over Jesse Cruz. Jesse Cruz had some steering problems really early on and then ended up having some transmission problems, I believe. And Steve Rowan pulling out the win in that one. Phil Whittington in the 80s class won the highest bumper award. Caden Cruz was second place in the Mad Dog voting. Andrew Eichens ended up winning the Mad Dog voting in the 80s class. Justin Blatto over Jay Vargo in the truck feature. Adam Schwartz, Logan Ayers, Jay Vargo right there in the final running for those Mad Dog honors as well. So it was an outstanding show. Randy joining us on the hotline. Make sure that microphone's open. How about from your perspective, man? What'd you think about WinterSLAM?
I thought it went awful great.
Everybody seemed to enjoy the after party. There was no problems back there. Tech inspection went ultra smooth front to back. Nobody had to do anything major. You were a little bit concerned on how things were going to go on the grounds with Jeremy being down. He's your right arm when it comes to that show, and you likewise being his right arm when it comes to WinterSLAM, presented by Star Group and Napa there in St. Peter. The show was essentially flawless. A little bit warmer weather, I don't think anybody would have argued with, but the stand stayed full late, and people took advantage of the closed-circuit TV and the heated concession area. The vendors stayed busy. I don't really know what more you could do to improve it.
Yeah, I was very impressed with the week leading up to it. Obviously we had a lot of hurdles we had to overcome, but at the end of the day, with the amount of people we got, the great people, I got to say, because everybody pulled their own weight. It all came together like it was a Swiss watch machine, really, because I couldn't have asked it to gone any better.
No, go ahead.
There was a lot of videos that have already been loaded. Andrew, I don't want to blow his name. I do every time I say it. Andrew Sherrano was a guy that we met up with, and was there was some banter back and forth with him when we were up in Mandan. He's got a bunch of the content loaded, and the video, as you can see, it was outstanding. Track held together fantastically. The event as a whole, Randy, how nervous were you with the forecast in terms of getting people to turn out for this one because it was going to be so cold?
Oh, I don't know. It really wasn't. Granted, it was single digits, but we've had it below before when it was 9 below zero with heavy wind chills.
Mm-hmm.
I really wasn't so concerned about the temperatures, even though I'm sure it did detour several. And I don't know, I didn't think it was all that bad as long as you stayed moving. And I even forgot to put my snowmobile boots on, walking around all day. If I stayed in one spot too long, then my toes got a little froze. But if you just started moving a little bit, get the blood circulating, then it was fine. It really didn't get too cold until the sun went down, just like it always does.
That's pretty much standard practice out there. The additional grandstands that you brought in, as we were heading back to the airport, we saw a couple banks of the grandstands leaving, or what I assume was leaving the fairgrounds. Those seem to be put to pretty good use because all of the grandstands looked like they were pretty well full, except for the first lower 2 or 3 rows where people were standing in front of them.
Right. Yeah, the extra stands helped us immensely.
How about the Mad Dog voting and the caliber of driving that you were privy to from your perspective there on the concrete wall? There was a lot of hard hits handed out.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm glad I don't have anything to do with it because that would have been a very tough task for the judges. And how I ended up doing that is I went through the whole length of the track, and I offered the crowd who wanted to be judges, and I pulled out 5 judges, and they had to pick out 5 names, and then we brought all the votes together from one end of the track to the other, and it came together pretty good, I think.
Is there anybody that you wanted to make mention of here before? I assume Andrew's there and at the ready.
Oh boy, there's so many. I don't know. I'm still kind of a little in shock yet. Just how well everything came together for us. We were kind of doing our tally. There's over 75 people that we have under our wing.
Wow.
So it's hard to. I'm just very thankful. Napa, they've supported. We have Brandon and Sheldon. They've done an awesome job of all the prep work. And, well, obviously they had a little extra help over and above that, but there were kind of masterminds behind it. And they've done a great job. That track was so awesome.
It was fantastic.
We never even had to scrape it once from start to finish, which we've never had to ever do.
And there was a lot of antifreeze that was put down on the track because they were popping radiators like crazy.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was awesome.
Did the storm that come through, was that what was pushing the cold air up that way, or was that because I know there was a big storm? Was that part of? It was hard to.
This was on the backside.
Oh, the one that went through.
Yeah.
All right. Because I knew somehow, some reason. I don't know if it was. I think it was in an airport, maybe in Baltimore. We saw a flash, or I saw a flash, something about bad weather coming across the Midwest, and obviously it was pointing up towards where you guys were, and I was like, uh-oh, it'd suck if they got 3 foot of snow. But then I heard you guys just talking about the cold, and I didn't know if it was all part of the same deal or.
The storm pushed the precipitation through Detroit, and that's what ended up canceling our flight on Friday, and we were able to get out at 5 o'clock Saturday morning to get into Minneapolis around 1:30, and then I felt like Ben Hoss driving from Minneapolis down to St. Peter. We got there quick. We made up some time.
Nice.
On the highway. I saw a lot of 169 as a blur.
Good.
But we and I think that right now at this point I can make it to Mankato and the Derby grounds in St. Peter without using GPS.
Been there enough, huh?
Yeah, a lot of it was looking pretty familiar.
That's cool. Been there a lot.
Yeah. We remember where all the bowling alleys were.
That's cool.
Even the community come together really well. We didn't get a lot of snow. I know that when I talked to Brandon on before Friday, there was maybe an inch or so on the ground, but then we got a little bit the night before on Friday. And Friday morning, the city went through and plowed some of the major streets. And before, basically, right at dawn, and they came in and plowed the whole frickin' grounds, and then went back and plowed their side streets. I thought that was very amazing. So Brandon was able to get in there and then get all the tents set up and stuff because all the snow was already gone. Get the bleachers set up. I mean, it all came together really well, but it took a lot of people, and I'm just very appreciative of all the support we've got.
Has Andrew made it to your place yet?
Yep, he's right here
with
us.
There?
right along with his brother as well.
Fantastic. That'll be great. Randy, man, congratulations on a great show. Jeremy, can't ignore the effort that he put in, and I know it was killing him being in the hospital, but awesome job this weekend.
Actually, an update on that.
Yeah.
They did release him this morning.
Yep.
And he traveled back home. They figured he could rest at home as well as the hospital, so they did cut him loose.
Perfect. That's good. We hope he takes the time needed to recover. What he's got is nothing to mess around with, but he'll be back on his feet in no time.
Right.
Well, we're already looking forward to 2018. Have you solidified the date yet?
I believe it's going to be the 9th, according to my wife here.
Perfect. I will. I'm going to start looking at Southwest flights instead of Delta, and we'll plan on going through Chicago instead of Detroit.
Might be a good suggestion.
Yeah. We want. We do not want to be in that situation again. But Randy, man, we appreciate the support that you give us, and the opportunities that you've given us out there at WinterSLAM year after year, and it's awesome to see this derby continuing to grow. Just when you think that it can't get bigger, it's continuing to gain traction. You look at today on the WinterSLAM Facebook page, some of the names that we see in other circles around the country are asking to join that page.
Cool.
And that's a big vote of confidence. I'm hoping that they're signing up for that with the intention of trying to bring cars. But they're going to have a problem next year. I think all the divisions are going to have to go to a draw because there's a lot of people that want to be part of WinterSLAM. And February 9th, start postmarking your envelopes now with your entry forms. Randy, again, man, I appreciate it. I was hoping that you might be able to put Andy on the phone so we could catch up with him a little bit.
Yep, that's fine. I got him on speakerphone right here right now.
Perfect. Well, Andy Shipp, we had a chance to bump into Andy at the after party, making the trip in from near London in the United Kingdom. Welcome to the show, first and foremost. Appreciate you coming on.
No problem. Thank you.
So, what did you think of WinterSLAM? That was your first taste of Demolition Derby in the form that we have here in the United States.
I loved it. I thought it was great. Really good to be part of it.
How different is, obviously we've seen the videos of banger racing. We talked about how out of your mind you guys are for doing it that way, but then you guys feel the same way about what happens here in North America. What was the biggest difference that struck you when you were pulling out there on the track for WinterSLAM?
Generally, the size of the cars. Your cars are a lot bigger and seem a lot stronger than what we have. And the cages inside are nothing at all like what we have. So that it just felt really odd to be sitting in a car with that amount of frame around you.
Now, which class did you run in?
80s class.
Oh, really?
So
cool.
got a real taste of it.
Nice. That's cool. That's cool.
Go ahead.
There was actually a gentleman or two at the Florida Nationals that were from England as well. I was talking with, I can't remember his name now, one of the guys on the fair board, and he said that there was guys that they'd come over for Daytona, and they were also involved with banger racing, and they had heard about the Derby, so they came up and were checking it out. And unfortunately, we didn't get a chance, with as hectic as everything was, we didn't get a chance to talk to either one of them. But so we had a few banger racing guys over here checking stuff out this weekend, which was really cool.
It was pretty awesome to have that atmosphere, and I know you've explained it about 1,000 times at the after party, Andy, about what it was like being here and the atmosphere. But can you take us through a little bit of some of your impressions of what you saw here in the United States, and in terms of Demolition Derby, and in terms of WinterSLAM as a whole? Just because it's something that we almost get tone deaf to it. Mm-hmm. We're around it 11 months out of the year, and sometimes we lose some of it. To have that fresh perspective, I know that's something a lot of people were asking you about back at the Best Western.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's good to see the different lines for your tech inspection and the amount that things get checked and looked at properly. Some of our stuff can be overlooked sometimes, but it seems a bit more thorough here. And putting them away in their own little area once they've been checked is a good thing. So no tampering can go on. That's pretty good. But I think myself, I got a little bit, a bit excited and started using the front end of the car too much, and noticed it coming back and twisting. So then I went to the back and started using that. But I think I want to do it again, and I'll definitely do it again. I think I'll just go a little bit steady towards the beginning and then get a bit more lively later on.
How about your brother Chris also had the chance to drive out there at WinterSLAM. Chris, how about some of your thoughts?
Yeah, similar to Andy, really. It was a brilliant experience, and I was glad to be a part of it. Again, I think we went too heavy with the front ends too early, and then the cars started to kind of bend in the wrong positions too early on, which obviously finished us off again too soon in the race. Definitely come back and definitely do it again. Personally, I'd probably do the trucks next year.
What?
That's awesome.
Yeah, just have a go, and then they just look a bit more me, really.
That's more your style?
Yeah, more my style. Yeah, just heavier, a little bit slower, but harder hits.
Huh.
I'm sure you guys were asked all weekend. By the way, I'm Brian. I'm one of the guys in the show, and unfortunately, I was in Florida instead of Minneapolis for this one. But for those of us who haven't had it explained to us, can you just give us a quick explanation of banger racing? I mean, everybody I know in Demolition Derby watches the videos on YouTube, and we're all in amazement at how hard the hits are and how junk the cars get. But we don't really understand the ins and outs, like the rules and like what the main goal of banger racing is. I mean, so would you guys just mind explaining it to us for those guys that didn't get to talk to you over the weekend while you guys were up at the show?
Yeah, of course, that's fine. Depending on what meeting you run, it's basically between 10 and 16 laps on an oval circuit. That you can choose to complete the laps if you want without hitting anyone or taking anyone out. But there's always certain drivers that would rather crash and smash into everyone. So they can take you out if they want. They can turn around on the corners, and as you come around, they can drive into you and take you out. But this is sometimes where me and Chris get a bit excited, because if that happens to us and they don't manage to stop us and kill our car, we'll do a whole nother lap. And if they're still sitting there, we'll come around and just plough straight into them. And that's where you get a lot of the videos where one goes in, the next goes in, and then someone else.
Yeah.
Because there's quite a few drivers that if they see a fresh car, they'll just want to get stuck in as fast as they can.
That's awesome.
But mainly, there's a lot of people that just want to race and finish and get the points, because all them points add up, and at the end of the year there's like big championship races.
Oh, okay.
And that qualifies you to race in the main race.
Okay. Now, how much do you guys have invested in cars to run over there? I mean, is it expensive, relatively inexpensive? I mean, we over here, we unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but I mean, there's kind of a budget for everybody. I mean, there's the guys that, just want to knock windows out and make, a couple wide open hits and be done. And there's guys that, spend, $35,000, to build a car. I mean, what's it cost to build a car over there?
So that's pretty much the same here. I run Jags mainly, and at the moment they're not too bad. Like, I bought a pair of Jags. I got two cars for £250, which was pretty good. But the cars that other people use, E-Class Mercedes or Granada Scorpios, they're paying like $300 to $350 plus just for a bare rolling shell, like no engine, no gearbox, nothing.
Okay.
But I just run a standard engine, V6 in mine. Other people run 4 cylinders, but they spend a lot of money on them, getting big power from them.
Yep.
So I can do a car really. If you said with tyres, because we run different tyres like you guys as well, about £800 is like a normal cost. If we then paint it and have it sign written real fancy, there's another couple of £100 on top of that.
Okay.
So to compare it, Brian, because I can see that you're trying to do the math in your head and you can't.
I have to say pounds because I don't know dollars.
It's okay. The 800 pounds is about $1,100.
Oh, so it's comparable.
250 pounds is nowhere near anything.
Yeah, it's comparable to like what the average is here.
It's not I don't remember the last time I met anybody that was able to spend $300 and have 2 Jaguars.
No. Now, you said that there's a lot of guys, or some guys that have a lot of money into their motors. So there's guys over there that'll run the same motor and gearbox from race to race that they don't get those broken or ruined?
No, that's right. The people that spend all the money on the engines, because we were allowed to run water tanks, we don't have radiators.
Yep.
They build them stronger and bigger than sometimes what they should be, so that helps protect the engine. And they have big engine guards, big engine mounts.
Okay.
So when the cars bend, it bends in such a way that it doesn't always break bits off the engine.
Okay.
Every time we'll pull the engine and gearbox out and put it in the next car, do the same, and then it just goes on to the next and the next.
Now, do you guys run...
Hang on real quick before you go there, because he said that it keeps the engine from bending and breaking stuff off the motor, which I get. It's that we all want to do that. But the problem is the rest of the car bends to the point where it looks like it's about to kill you.
Yes, it does.
And like, is there a high injury rate? Because when you look at the videos, it seems like you could start the meet, as it were, with 30 guys, and 10 of them are going to go out on stretchers.
Surprisingly, as bad as some of the cars look, their cars will twist, if they're really bad, around the driver's side, because we're allowed to fully weld the driver's door, although we only have a cage behind us, like an up and over. Mm-hmm. We have a steel plate on the driver's door, so when it does bend, generally that area is pretty good. Like, you're safe enough in there.
All right.
I was just going to ask what type of cages you guys ran, because I assumed that there had to be something pretty good to protect the drivers. Because you do kind of notice, like, they bend in front of the rear wheels, but it looks like the driver's compartment is pretty intact. Some of them just look like that they've been hit by a bus.
When the A-pillar is leaned forward 4 feet from where it used to be, and the whole roof shifts over the engine, at least the driver's side's safe.
Yeah, right? The nice thing is, though, it's going away from the driver.
It's going away from the driver.
The pillar behind you might smack you in the head on the way by, but...
The A-post is going away from the driver. No problem. The other 25 feet of car, it's coming in the back of your head, but it's cool because we got a plate on the door. It's all right.
Well, it's great, though. I mean, I'm glad that we're finally able to talk to guys that do the banger. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, I want you guys to know that, like, 90% of the Derby drivers over here just think you guys are absolutely insane, and that it's so fun to watch what you guys do over there, because it does. I mean, it looks like you guys are just literally hitting people at, incredible speeds, and it really looks cool. But I would never do it because I'm not that insane anymore.
It was really cool when I met Andy, and I said, "Do you get mobbed like this at home all the time?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm basically the UK Josh Decker." I thought that was really
That's cool. Everybody's got to have one.
He said he was not used to that, and but it was awesome to see the support from the Derby community coming and completely making these guys part of the family here, and just tons and tons of questions. I still am trying to, because one of my favorite cars from like, I don't know, one of my favorite, I guess you call it import, it's a safe way to say it. It's not the tuner cars. It was like the late 70s and early 80s Jaguars. There was a bunch of them that were in the James Bond movies, and it hurts me inside, like, when I hear about them smashing 65 Imperials, hearing this. But he's bragging about getting it for $350, which is the same thing that happens here when they get 65 Imperials. It's a steal.
So listen, why don't you send $350 over and get one shipped home? I mean, you know some guys that know some guys.
That's a great idea. My kid's be a Jaguar.
Yeah.
We could make this happen.
We could. Absolutely.
And I get to say that I spent pounds. So now, Andy and Chris, was it the sole purpose was to come over and check out a demolition derby, or did you have family over here, or what was the reason for coming over?
It was my idea, mainly for my brother Chris. He's built me a couple of bangers back home, and he's always wanted me to build him a Jag in return so he could have a go, because he hasn't run one of the Jags like I used before. Mm-hmm. I knew I was pushed for time, and trying to do it at home without him realising I was doing it for him just wasn't going to happen. So I looked into what would be good to come and watch. The WinterSLAM was highly recommended, so that was the first thing I sort of inquired about. Mm-hmm. And we was initially just going to come over and watch, but then, like all of us, you think, well, if I'm coming over to watch all this way, I might as well let him have a go. And then I thought, well, if he's having a go, I'm definitely going to want to have a go. It just went from there and turned into getting Brandon Finley to supply and build 2 cars for us.
That's awesome. For the record,
It
though,
just got a bit out of hand, really, but in a good way because we loved it.
that's awesome. For the record, though, if we ever come to England, I would love to go to banger races, but there ain't no way in God's green earth I'm getting in one of those cars.
The only way that I would ever drive in banger racing if I'm a passenger with Jeremy Gully.
Yeah, I was going to say Jeremy Gully would be right into banger racing, but yeah, there is no way I'm getting in one of those cars. I would love to stand there and watch, but yeah, it's really cool. And it's so awesome that you guys came over and watched. I mean, I'm really glad you're able to come over and enjoyed yourselves. And don't feel bad.
They drove.
Yeah.
They were in it.
Well, that's what I mean. They enjoy themselves. And
They learned how to do it the right way the first time. Nose out, because nobody remembers the guy that saved their car for 10th.
And that's what I was going to tell you guys, is don't feel bad about using the nose, because, one, it's so much easier, and it's so much more fun when you hit somebody wide open headlight to headlight, as you can see their eyes getting bigger and bigger and bigger. They're like, no, he's not going to do it. And then just before you hit them, their eyes are huge, and they realize that, yep, we're about to hit like this. So don't worry about it. A lot of us guys, most guys using the nose, so don't worry about it. Have fun. Enjoy yourselves. It's great you guys came over. I'm really happy you did. Keep us updated on the banger racing. Like I said, it's I'll have to try to look for you guys on YouTube so I can I can see your own cars and what you're doing. It's really awesome. Hopefully someday things work out. Maybe Crash Course could make it to see a banger race. That would be
amazing,
incredible,
wouldn't it? Especially when we have to draw the short straws of who stays home.
Other than the flying over the ocean for 77 hours or whatever it is, we would have to do a lot of serious drinking before we get on that plane.
How long was that flight?
What, sorry?
How long was the flight?
The flight was 8.5 hours.
That's not bad.
Yeah, for us, you got to take.
We watched a couple of movies and a bit of TV, and it soon goes.
See, if Chris and I came, we could start. If we had enough money, we could spend enough time at the airport bar to where most of the over the ocean flying wouldn't be so bad.
Oh, can you imagine waking up halfway there, the hangover?
I don't get hangovers, so that'd be all right. But
I've got 4 Jags ready to strip and build at home. So if you did come over, then you'd have to have a go.
No. Thank you for the offer, but no.
What's the hot ticket for Jags? I mean, like, what's the most coveted Jaguar that everybody wants to get their hands on? Is there a year range? Is there a model range?
Yeah, the ones that everyone wants, and if you can find them, you have to pay good money for, is like the Series 1, 2, and 3 Jag. They're the real early ones, and they're good. They come with the V12, but no one runs that. They normally run the 4.2 straight 6.
Okay.
But they're the best ones.
That's awesome. I'd run the V12 just to see what it was like. If I'm going to wreck something, let's wreck it big.
I saw a guy do something equivalent to that. One time he put a Cadillac motor in a Thunderbird.
Yeah, we have seen that guy do that. How did he do this weekend?
It didn't go great. That old Ford was a little moody for him, but nonetheless, he got to twist it up enough so that there's meat on the bone for when Eric Moulet comes back out. And he'll be able to finish off the 60 Mercury. Chris Lancaster. It was good to see him. Jay Oberg got to catch up with. I mean, the after party was.
Did Stenberg
run? I didn't see his car in the lineup. Kenny Money drove up there.
Yeah, I saw that.
Kenny had the car for Domination Motorsports. Candace was there, bumped into her for a few minutes. She ended up getting a nasty headache and had to call it an early night. So we didn't get to hang out with her as much as we were hoping to. But, we were surrounded by, we joke about it, but in all honesty, we were surrounded by 5,000 of our closest friends. Everybody that we knew was there.
That's awesome.
It was awesome at the after party. And they hit a home run with the after party, doing it the way that they did. Pizza Ranch was taking orders up to the half hour, and then 30 minutes later they would deliver your pizza. And they were doing that on the hour for 4 hours. So there was no food that you had to worry about. You got to bring your own liquor, bring your own drinks. So if you preferred Coke, you had Coke. If you wanted rum and Coke, you had to supply your own rum. And it was awesome. It worked out great. There was piles of pizzas everywhere. People were splitting those up. They were right on time. They had gluten-free pie there. The pizza was good.
You didn't have to eat cardboard.
No, I was.
That's great. Congratulations.
It was. Unfortunately, that was the only food that I ate for a span of 36 hours because
but that's normal for you.
The other time was all spent in airports, but nonetheless, it was pretty cool. It was probably the best after party that we've had there, and I didn't get punched. Everybody loves that part. Absolutely. There were some Minnesota Wild fans and we were jawing back and forth, and we found a mutual hatred of the St. Louis Blues. So if Dana Brellinger's listening, we still don't like the Blues. Nonetheless. But when does the season start up for you at home, guys?
It pretty much goes all year round. Just slows down in the winter months, really. So you can race when it gets going like real heavy, sort of from March onwards. You can race pretty much every weekend.
Are they standalone meets, or are they held in conjunction with festivals or carnivals or fairs or something like that, the way that our county fair season plays out?
No, ours aren't really anything like that, are they, Chris? They just run on either a Saturday or a Sunday, completely on their own. There's no after party, nothing like that. You turn up, do your racing or your wrecking. There's always a destruction derby at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
So if you want to finish the car off, you can go out in that if it's survived the races. and then that's pretty much it then. Just done and everyone goes home.
After you're done with the car, do you leave it in the front yard, especially if it's a winter? Leave it in the front yard and let the neighbors know how well it did?
Yeah, people don't like seeing cars left out on the drive and on the right side.
They need to change their opinion of it.
Hey, I got to ask you guys something completely off Demolition Derby and the banger racing topic. Do they still have a huge festival at Castle Donington? Huge music festival at Castle Donington? And have you guys ever been?
Wouldn't know about that one. I've never been. Never heard about it. Never been.
I must just be too old. Sorry, guys. Back out of Derby and banger racing. Chris is over here typing away.
I'm answering some questions. We had some stuff coming in on Facebook. It's been a busy night. Numbers are good online. Facebook's busy. It's pretty cool.
Good.
It's good. It's real good. Is there anybody that you want to make mention of that helped get these cars together that you want to recognize before we let you go? I know you guys got a couple more days in the U.S. before you fly out on Wednesday too.
Yeah, I'd really like to thank Brandon and all his team for supplying and building the cars, getting them there and doing everything he did, and Randy and his crew for making such a brilliant event, making us very welcome.
Well, we appreciate you guys coming on, and I look forward to getting together with you guys again. I think it'd be awesome if we could catch up with you next year back at WinterSLAM or at one of the shows where that are happening all over the U.S. that have mildly warmer temperatures. But for sure, man, I appreciate you coming on the show, and it was great to meet up with you guys.
Yeah, great to meet you too. Thanks very much.
Take care, guys. We'll see you.
I guess.
Cheers.
Got the cheers at the end. And I got to tell you, right now, they are the most polite Demolition Derby drivers I've ever met.
That's cool. That's cool.
They're awesome guys. Awesome guys. We have to get Jason Sauer on deck next to talk a little bit with him. Before we do that, we were talking about a time when those guys should come back over to the United States to take in some of the other offerings that we have in terms of Demolition Derby. Mm-hmm. I think this would be a good place to start, but it's a little soon.
Yeah, that's pretty soon.
Coming up in a month away this week, Capital City Carnage is on deck at the Kansas Expo Center. March the 15th, heat draws will be held at 7 o'clock. We're looking forward to getting our way back out there. Flights are booked, ready to roll for that one. March the 16th is the start of the action. That's going to be Friday night, March 16th. 7 o'clock start for the limited weld heats, 1 through 10. The top 2 advance, 100 cars max for this and the weld class. So we're going to have our first 20 cars set on the 16th. March 17th is a doubleheader. 10 o'clock start. Limited weld constellations will be 1 through 5, so 2 cars each. Out of that gives another 10 to set our 30-car field for that. The compact feature is going to be on deck as part of that program as well. $2,500 to win there. 7 o'clock, both of the extreme 2-man features will be contested then. $2,500 to win as part of that program. Modified feature, $2,500 to win, and then the limited weld finals paying $10,000 with a $5,000 Mad Dog. Capital City Carnage 2018 at the Kansas Expo Center in Topeka, Kansas. www.capitalcitycarnage.com. It's an indoor show, of course, if you like what Smash It does, but you'd rather do it on the grandest stage outdoors. You just have to wait 2 months and you get to do it. May 26th through the 28th, the Bash for Cash 2018 at the Ross County Fairgrounds in Chillicothe, Ohio. Online, smashitderby.com. Near at Big Rock, $11,000 to win kicker class. The kicker class is open to all makes and models. You're also allowed to bring the new iron in with that, and it's going to be awesome. I believe that's the class that they've added the leaf sprung forwards, right?
Yes.
Put leaf springs under them.
Clock.
That's the old iron bonus. If it's won by an old iron car, they get an extra $3,000. And the highest finishing old iron entry takes home an extra $1,500 if it's won by a metric car. Flipping it around for the turn back the clock class, metric car wins that one, they get a $3,000 bonus. On the flip side, if it's won by an old iron, which it's supposed to be because it's turn back the clock, $1,500 goes to the highest placing metric car. The 10,000 win DE Setters compact class is back again this year. Frank the Tank old school wire class, which is always a hit for the course of the weekend. That's on deck. Full size trucks, youth compact class, compact trucks. They have openings there. It's $75 to enter. A couple of those divisions, the 80s wire class and the street stock class, are both at this point completely full. In between there, if you want to go all the way over the Rocky Mountains and check out some action in Utah, May 18th, 19th is the dates that have been set for May Mania with Stern Dirt Racing, online, sterndirtracing.com. It's going to be the same format as last year's Heber City program. That was the Wasatch Wipeout, where they had the heats on Friday, then the grudges and features on Saturday, with support divisions running on both nights. And Stern Dirt Racing, again, as they get closer and closer to the start of their 2017 season, or 2018 season, they want to thank all the drivers, supporters, partners, and especially the fans that helped make 2017 a successful year for Stern Dirt Racing. And again, that event is moving, May Mania, moving from Golden Spike Arena to the Spirit of 46 Arena at Salt Lake City Park, which is home of the State Fair, right there in Salt Lake City, Utah. So we don't have to run WinterSLAM, and we don't have to run Florida Nationals because both those shows are done. So I guess the next big thing that we got to hit on, if the computer's going to allow us, will be Road Rage Entertainment. Road Rage Entertainment, we're going to be part of that one June the 2nd, 2018 at the Broome County Fairgrounds in Whitney Point, New York. The team Derby, the compacts are sold out. There's one spot left in trucks, if at all, and then a couple spots left in the full-size V8s. And then they've got the one-and-dones. All of them are $1,000 to win guaranteed, and each of those, the one-and-dones are full-size V8s, junk run, which is like minivans, small SUVs, small trucks, and compacts. There's an RC Derby with JMW Motorsports, the Power Wheels, the Kid Zone, the play area. So if your kid starts getting antsy, doesn't want to leave the Derby, but you want to stay, you can drop them off there. There's a babysitter ready to go. They got coloring books, games, all sorts of stuff lined up, and I think that is going to be a wave of the future, if you will. We're going to see more of that. And, of course, everybody that's there vetted. It's a safe environment to let your kid hang out. And I think he was kicking around the idea of doing some rides, too, with a
I heard
car, but I don't know where that got left. But nonetheless, you can find them online, www.facebook.com/Road Rage Enter. Again, Facebook.com/Road Rage Enter. Entertainment didn't fit. So enter, and you can find more information about Road Rage and their upcoming shows on June the 2nd. We're going to have some focus stuff going on with Jeremy Gully coming up in the coming weeks. We're going to have to get, whoops, that's not the one we want. The one and only, who might be the happiest guy in North America right now. Jason Sauer going to be joining us on the line here momentarily after finishing second to Mark Siopa. And he earned every last bit of it to get that down there. He did.
Just real quick, I wanted to mention Jeffy's Fab Farm Mini Meltdown. All other classes, registration is now open. So if you're interested in running the stock V8s, the trucks, or I think I missed a
compacts, stocks, and then the limited world class, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I think so. You can get right on Spinning Wheels, and you can register for all those. So anybody interested, go ahead and check that out.
Wait a second.
And there is registration open now.
I'm on the line, but
yes, I know you're on the line. Hang on one second. JMW Motorsports, we alluded to them being part of that show, and I think that Jason Sauer is talking about coming up to this as well. That's one of the things we're going to ask him about. He's waiting in the wings. He's saying hello to everybody. We'll bring him on in just a second. JMW Motorsports is going to Motorama this weekend down in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We're going to be down there with the Mud Boss Series, driving the remote-controlled race cars. They're going to be doing the Demolition Derby stuff down there in Motorama, which is that huge 1 million square foot complex in Harrisburg as you're going down 81.
Yeah.
We're going to be inside that. They have tons of stuff going on down there.
Yeah.
So I'm leaving Friday. I'm going to meet up with Ed and spend the weekend with him. I'll be overseeing the racing side. He's doing the Derby side. I think they got the milk trucks, do RC milk trucks. Awesome.
That's cool.
It's very cool. And you can still register. They're allowing walk-up registration down there. Bring your wallet. Tom Bell, a bunch of the guys from up here are going down.
Cool.
Ryan Davenport, Jamie Davis. A lot of the guys from up here are going to go down there and
cool.
do either racing or Derby. And then I'm pretty sure Tyler Spittle's not going to miss it. He's one of the buddies of ours from out on the eastern side of Pennsylvania. We haven't seen him in a little while, but it'd be good to catch up with him down there. Jason Sauer, Joining us now on the line, Jason, are you back home or are you still in Florida?
I'm in Florida. How are you?
Last time we talked to you, you were excited about being featured at Art Basel down there, and now you've turned things around and you're excited about being featured for second place at the Florida Southern Showdown Nationals, because what a run you had, and you battled it out with Mark Slyopa, a guy who you've watched for a long time in your home area, Pittsburgh, and now here we are, second place, and it's as good as a win.
That's the biggest win of my entire life. I've been derbying for 23 years. I've never won a trophy. I've never won any money. I've never gotten a check. I couldn't believe I was in the finals of the Florida Southern Nationals team show. I couldn't believe I was competing against some of the biggest names in Demolition Derby. And I couldn't believe where I was at the end, watching two Syopa cars beat up on me, taking my licks from J.C. Molly's, and actually competing against the moneymaker himself.
Holding your own and running it down. So was it one of those cases where you're so starstruck that he was just able to pick you apart, or did you just lay over and die because at that point you gotten farther than you ever expected to? Just shut the thing off, or you were out there fighting for that win?
Well, my goal was for him to break down. Because I tried to hit him a few times, but I couldn't get a clean shot on him. And so I was watching cars break down out there, so I was like, maybe if I scoot around a little bit, his insides would be all shook up from that bouncy track,
sure.
And he'd give up on me. But at the end there, I don't know what happened. The starter quit on me. The car never stalled until the very end. It was the first time it stalled, and it didn't restart. And tried to restart it, and I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna hold the wires while he runs into me, with the hopes that the car would restart, looking for some magic to happen.
Right.
Which it didn't happen, but I was pretty pumped to even be in that situation. I've never been in that situation. To be with, these guys, the Syopas, they're perennial favorites to win. They built the win, and I couldn't believe that. That's what it was. I was at the final with them, with Team Ambets, and my partner was out there with me, and I just couldn't believe that this is happening. Coming from Stoneboro, Pennsylvania, with all these guys, in the last few years, the Demolition Derby world has really opened up for me, and I couldn't be a happier person. I've been having a great time. I'm taking that trophy around everywhere like it's my best friend, and I just walk around with the trophy. It feels pretty good.
At what point, I know Brian's gonna yell at me because I asked some version of this question to everybody, and the obvious answer is yes, I want to go out there with a win. I get that part, but having never been in that situation, you had to go in there with so much confidence and almost relief, having the monkey off your back to be in the feature. What point did things start to turn and maybe even the palms get a little sweaty and you get a little jittery inside the car, thinking, you know what, if the cards fall the right way with some breakdowns happening out here, I could actually come away with a win in this thing?
I know exactly the moment. It was when J.C. Molly's tagged me really hard. They woke me up. I was like, because I was kind of feathering the gas, a little feather on the gas here, feather on the gas there. I'm like, because in Stoneboro, I've always built really crappy car, and so I've spent a career of dodging the big hits, just to survive a little while longer to enjoy another year of Demolition Derby. And then I took a pretty powerful lick from JC, and that really woke me up. I looked around, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's three of us left. I'm like, it's time to push the gas, see what's going on with this car, and I'm just going to take it to the limit. I'm going to burn it up, I'm going to blow it up. Whatever I have to do, I'm going to break it, I'm going to break something. And I knew at that moment right there when he hit me that it was time, that I better get out of this corner right now and go do some donuts and try to come back around and hit somebody.
JC did a really nice job in the heat too. He and his teammate was having a little bit of trouble, and Jason shipped the guy right out over the wall and got it down to 1-on-1, and eventually came away with a win there. But Jason was a happy dude. I mean, he was happy after the win in the heat, and we could literally see the smile on his face from where we were announcing when it got down to him and Mark. I mean, it was great. We talked to him afterwards, and Jason told us the same thing. I was just hoping something was going to happen and Mark was going to be out. But it was so awesome to see. I mean, Jason was he was definitely like that's the good part of the sport is when you see guys that happy afterwards. So it was great to see, Jason. You were definitely having a ball.
It was definitely the greatest moment of my demolition derby career. Shout out to cousin Dane, cousin Josh, cousin Sean, Smith Metalworks, Sayopa Racing. It took so much to get me onto this track. I had to beg and borrow a motor from Uncle Joe in Texas and get a transmission from Uncle Ed in Maryland. And I just, without my family and everyone else around me, I would have never got the parts and the driveline together to get this car up and running and even participate. And I've always wanted to sit in one of them pro cars, but I'm not much of a mechanic, not enough for that. But in the last, Dane built that car in, 7 days or something. And in 7 days, I learned a lot about the mechanics and engineering of demolition derby cars, more than I have ever, I did what I could, but, I'm very lucky and I'm very happy how it turned out. I couldn't believe that I got to ride in one of these Crown Vics. Like, I saw, the Crown Vics at the Gegg Brothers, drove there in Blizzard Bash, and I was like, man, I bet you that's really awesome to ride one of those cars. Be out there competing against some of the greatest drivers and builders in demolition derby, and I was smiling right through my helmet. I was getting a hoarse voice from yelling at Mark. I was yelling woohoo to Mark the whole time. I'm like, come on, Mark! I was like, is that all you got?
That's awesome.
I'm
Now,
really hoping he'd trash his car on mine.
Now for the second most important question is, did you get to tag a Lamborghini today?
I did not.
Or Sunday. I'm sorry, Sunday.
It was yesterday. I drove through the night. I got to Miami at like 9 in the morning, and I pulled the truck and trailer, and I was in a car show and an art show that had, Aston Martins, Lamborghinis, McLarens, Bentleys, and there it was, the demolition derby car. And I was just showing off that car to all sorts of people, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job at building some traction here in Florida. So that's 2-3 weeks in a row, plus the first week in December, that I get to tell people about the Florida Nationals. And people who aren't from Florida know what demolition derbies are, because they're all from New York. And I talked to a lady who stopped by, and she's like, I used to watch those things on Long Island. And I was like, oh, Long Island, they have a great history of demolition derby. And she's like, yeah, my dad used to take me there, and I'd like to take my son to that thing. So I told her, July 4th there's another event in Hernando, and that first or second week of February is the national championship. So I just get to tell the story, and I get to tell it with enthusiasm, and I'm so excited. Like I said, I had the trophy in my hand, and I found a lot of people to take pictures with the trophy and sit with the car, and I got to sign some autographs like I was doing a good job. And I just couldn't believe that. I'm just so amazed and so happy that these dreams of demolition derby are coming true for me. And I just being out there is like sitting on pole at Daytona or winning Daytona. Like just making it to the feature is like a milestone in my life that I thought I'd never see. And
That's
making it to the top three was another, never ever thought I would ever be there. And just the people around me just really helped me get to that point, because obviously I can't do it by myself, and without their support and people around me, I do it for them, because I want to make sure that they support me, and I want to support them and let them know that
That's
doing
awesome.
a good job, and I'm out here to be a good sport, and just happy that I get to participate with a car that doesn't stall. It's so amazing.
That's all great stuff, man.
It just kept running, the car, until the very end. Motor never shut off.
That's great stuff, man.
If I wanted to go fast, I just pushed the gas and it went fast. It was so amazing.
Great stuff, man. I was just hoping you were going to get to tag one of those, $300,000 or $400,000 cars at the art show. So maybe next year we can work on that for you.
I tagged some of the property around it.
That's cool.
The spray paint stuff is not going well for me here in Florida. I got kicked out of the condo. They made me park on the street already. They don't like my spray paint stuff. So sometimes what I'm doing doesn't go well. So as much as my ego was tip top earlier today, this afternoon. They're like, you got to get that spray painted stuff off this island. And the police are like, they don't want you here. You're making the property values go down. So I was like, oh my gosh.
Those people just don't know what good taste is.
Yeah. Did you show them the book that you're in, the 100 top artists?
I tried to tell them I was an important person, that I won second place at the Nationals, but they didn't want to hear it.
Listen, the next thing you do is tell them that you know Josh Decker. That's the next thing you do.
You know what? That's good advice.
There you go. Tell them you know Josh Decker and everything.
I tried Todd Siopa, but it didn't work.
But let's put a pin in that real quick, because I got more questions for you on the art side of things. But results, I hope I'm not missing anything. First place, Mark Siopa winning the team show. Mike DeFrecia winning the 80s class.
He was so happy. He got out and won that, and you would have thought he was so ecstatic and jubilant, and just a great feature overall. That feature was an awesome show.
Steve Sickles winning the compact show.
Yep.
And Mike Oliver getting Mad Dog in that.
Oh, good God. He was on the gas. Brought a Mopar down, and I'm sorry. I think he might have built the Mopar down there because he got a bunch of parts from Josh. Hauled Josh's car down, built it there, and they said go, and boy did he. It was great to see. But yeah, it was awesome. That Brett and Corey Relier were down there. They were down in the top 5. Our buddy Fur was there, winner of the original Coos. Mike DeFrecia, and of course you always know Mike's going to be there at the end. Him and Fur battled it out at the end, and I mean Fur's a great driver, very very meticulous, very doesn't make mistakes. And we were talking to him afterwards, and Josh goes, Fur, why didn't you just gas it and try to? And he goes, dude, I had him lined up 100 times. And he said I'd gas it and Mike would get out of it. So I mean he was very he couldn't come up with enough words to describe how good of a driver Mike was or is. Just great to watch. You know what I mean? Overall, like I mentioned, the track and the team car builds didn't go together so well. But again, I think we'll see some interesting stuff in the future with that. Overall, awesome weekend. The one thing that I did learn, and I said it on our show, is that Florida fire ants are worse than Minnesota's snow. I can deal with the cold snow better than fire ants. Fire ants.
To you?
Oh, yeah.
Where?
I went over afterwards. Brett was getting loaded up, and Corey, and was talking to them, and all of a sudden stuff started biting my leg, so I took off and eventually got it all washed off, and it was interesting. But overall, great show. A little humid. It was like 83 and humid, but then the humidity went away at night, and it was beautiful. It was thanks, buddy. I told you I've always liked cold weather because I can always get warmer, and hot weather you can't always get cooler. But it was great to see. Steve Siopa had terrible luck all night. Lost the transmission in his primary car. Fuel issues. They had a one-on-one grudge. He lost some sort of fuel issue in that. So Steve had a definitely off night. Before the show, Todd was up in the booth with us. Todd brought Big Wayne up. Big Wayne got interviewed by Josh and Ben, so that was pretty cool. Big Wayne is the team manager for Siopa Racing, and Todd and I were talking outside. And he said, "Well, who do you think's going to win the feature?" I thought about it for a minute. I said, it's going to be the guy that's the smoothest on the gas, because it's not going to be the big hit that's going to take you out. It's going to be, and he goes, so who do you think? And I said, Mark is going to be tough to beat. And Todd said, man, how awesome would it be to see Jason Sauer in there? And I said, I forgot all about Jason. I said, it would be good to see Jason. So Todd and I we kind of predicted it. It came down to Mark and Jason. And, they put on a good show. They really did. They battled. You could definitely, we've said it a million times, Mark is known as the money man, and you could see his thinking as he was driving, because he wasn't pounding the gas, he wasn't abusing the car. It was really cool to watch. Jason did a great job. He didn't put himself in bad spots. He did a nice job of driving. Obviously, Mark's got a lot of experience. He's been in a lot of derbies. But it was great. Jason absolutely did a great job against Mark. But in the end, Mark came away with it for the 100th time or something crazy like that. He's probably won a derby, but overall, just a great weekend. Looking forward to getting back into the swing of full-blown Derby action.
Yeah, it's on now. It's no stop till November.
Yeah, and then it only stops until the party New Year's Eve.
Then 2 months. Yeah, we got to figure out what we're gonna do for New Year's Eve next year.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah. If worse comes to worse, let's just have it at your house.
I don't want to. I don't want to. Never mind. I'll tell you about that.
All right, bud, we're good.
Jason, I got a couple things that are coming up on our schedule. First is going to be Finger Lake Speed World, which is going to be March 3rd and 4th at Auburn Mall. They have the Hall of Wreckers outlined. If anybody has a demolition derby car that is in a various state of disrepair, they can come and put the car on display as part of a motorsports racing show at Finger Lakes Mall. We had Zach Herman, James Brown, David Stone, and then Mike Osterhout. They all brought cars up last year. I'm hoping that we can get some of those guys to come again this year. Jason, I put this out there to you a little while ago, and I wondered if you were still interested in making the trip up to be part of Finger Lake Speed World.
I am definitely interested in that. I want to help spread the word of Demolition Derby. I think what you're doing is great for the sport. I like when the cars get to be seen in locations where people would not necessarily see cars. And when that happens, that's when I do my best work, is just tell people how great Demolition Derby is and how well they should bring their kids and perhaps be a part of the Power Wheels. But I like that idea. I like the idea. I love the paint jobs. I like to see what people are doing to their cars. I like to see the other motorsports, what they do to their cars, and it's not that far of a drive compared to Florida, that's for certain.
Well, JMW Motorsports is going to have an RC Derby on Sunday as part of that, in addition to Power Wheels races that they've got scheduled up there. The Gas Racing Series, the drag racing crew is going to be there. Western New York Super Rod Association is going to be there. Patriot Sprint Tour, we're getting a little bit more racing focused, but Land of Legends Raceway, Canandaigua Speedway is going to be there. They're going to be in center court with the Patriot Sprint Tour. Dave Marcichelli's car is going to be there, if I remember correctly. So there's going to be race cars from all walks of life, including vintage stuff.
Cool.
They're going to have Jim Champagne's car there.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Real excited to see that. That's going to be
really
cool. So, I mean, I think it'd be something that's good for all walks of a motorsport fan, because we've talked before about how that racing world and the derby world doesn't often overlap, but in this case, those worlds do collide. There's a big RC race on Saturday and then the RC Derby on Sunday. So Ed Brewster is going to be up there, and I know he's very anxious to catch up with you as well. So he's hoping that you make the trip up for that. And then the next order of business I wanted to ask you about was June the 2nd. At Road Rage Entertainment's show in Whitney Point, which is right off 81. I know it's the wrong side of the state for you in terms of north-south interstates, but nonetheless, those guys were hoping that you were going to be available to come up and do some painting and tag some cars at that event in Whitney Point.
I would love to do that. I think this is great. I got pretty open schedule right now, so I'll be happy to do those events. I'll bring my trophy with me so everybody can see it.
Absolutely.
my best friend, the trophy, and maybe Big Wayne will ride with me for the ride, and we can make a celebrity appearance out of the whole
That'd be
thing.
awesome.
That'd be cool.
I want a selfie with the trophy. You can be in the picture too.
Did you see I found some bathing suit models to take a picture of the trophy here yesterday. I don't know if Todd put that online or anything.
I have not seen it, but I'm sure before long we will.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
That sounds like a good magazine cover.
I'm pretty excited about it, I'm telling you.
Brian's always pushing to have stuff like that happen.
I couldn't be any happier. I am seriously the happiest guy. I'm getting so many phone calls and messages. People telling me congratulations. I've never in my dreams ever thought I would have done this well, and compete against one of the, Team Siopa is really just dream come true. I can't believe it, and I'm super excited that I get to be a part of this, and I get to be a part of a little piece of history in Florida, and that makes it all worthwhile. And hopefully more people come down to Florida next year, and the event just keeps growing and growing. I think it's a wonderful thing that JC and John Cash are doing in Florida, and that the podcast guys all came down and were a part of that. It just really, I know my friends in Pittsburgh were watching from
that's great.
From their computers, and they were very excited to see the turn of events that happened.
Cool.
Where can people find you online?
Me? I'm on YouTube.
YouTube, best place to find you is under Pittsburgh Art Car, or is it under Jason Sauer?
Yeah, PGH Art Car is the Instagram handle, and the YouTube is Most Wanted Fine Art. And I'm working on my video skills right now. I'm trying to create some video content that way I can further explain the story of Demolition Derby rather than just be picture by picture. I'm enjoying making small videos of what we got going on here, and I think it tells the story better in a full context when you see a 30-second, a 3-minute clip of a video of Demolition Derby. You can, like the latest one right now, I have Chance Smith out there running the sledgehammer, bending the sheet metal back on the car because I'm still coming off my shoulder surgery.
Sure.
So that was my very first Derby since my shoulder surgery, so I got a shout out to my surgeon. Thank you, Dr. Christopher Reddy, for giving me a shoulder and allowing me to get back in the Demolition Derby car, and that makes me feel really proud and really good.
Did your doctor know that you were getting back into a Demolition Derby car?
Well, we had the surgery knowing the date of the February Derby.
Okay.
So we knew that I've been rehabbing since the summertime to get myself prepared for the smashing that goes on in a Demolition Derby car. He was worried, but he works on professional pitchers and on quarterbacks. So
cool.
I got to get the best surgeon in the Pittsburgh
Awesome.
area for my shoulder. I told him how important of a Demolition Derby driver I am.
Absolutely.
And I needed to have the best surgeon I could have.
Absolutely.
And they believe me.
Good.
So they hooked me up with a guy, and my shoulder works real good. Today I threw a football for the first time in a year.
Awesome.
And I'm telling you, it went really well for me. And I didn't feel any pain in that car other than, like, my back.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
I'm telling you, that was a bouncy track. I've never been in a derby car for that long in my life. That was probably the longest collectively. Like, put all of my 23 years together, and it wouldn't even add it up to the amount of time I was in the car 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
And it was pretty exciting. I've never been in that situation before, and I was just so thrilled and so happy to be out there with my friends. And I was trying to give Mark a high five as I was driving past him. He's like, "You're an idiot." But it was great.
That's awesome.
Well, I'm glad you.
Okay.
I'm glad you had some.
King was making fun of me for waving to Mark out there. I was like, "Hey, buddy, look at us." He's like, "Get back to work."
That's funny.
Well, I'm glad you had so much fun down there. Awesome show. Congratulations to John Cash, JC Mollies, and everybody down there that was involved with the Florida Southern Showdown Nationals in Brooksville. I know they've already started working on plans for next year, just like WinterSLAM has. So we've closed the chapters on 2018 on WinterSLAM and on Florida for now. And now our attention turns fully to Capital City Carnage, which is only 1 month away. Jason, man, appreciate you coming on the show and hanging out with us for a little while.
My pleasure. I'll see you guys at Bash for Cash. I'll have the Suburban out there in the truck class, and I'll be trying to get another second place trophy again. This is my year.
That's what I like to hear.
I've got the dragon, and I'm going to start chasing this dragon. I love it.
I hope we see you before that, and you can make the trip up in March.
You got it. Thank you for calling me. I appreciate you guys having me on. You guys do great work, and thank you.
Thanks, Jason. We'll catch you soon.
All right.
Take care. Bye now. There goes Jason Sauer, runner-up, and like we said, easily the happiest person in North America right now.
Oh, yeah.
With second place. Great run there.
Our buddy Tim and Russ were down from Smash It, and we hung out with them for most of the day Saturday. Best idea.
You did. Ben was teching cars, and Josh was setting up.
Well, Ben didn't start teching cars. It was late. The reason Ben was asked to tech cars is because
the cruise ship was delayed or something.
Yeah,
right?
like
Nick
3-hour delay because of fog, and then it was a 3-hour drive.
Oh.
So JC, kind of, was in a pinch, and he asked Ben, and it was like 3:00 when Ben started teching. So JC, asked if Ben would mind, and Ben started doing just the compacts and the semi-stock. Mm-hmm. And then, the other guy showed up and they said, "Hey, would you mind helping?" So Ben continued and, helped out there. Josh is really more busy signing autographs and being Josh Decker, but, that's Josh. So, no, we were hanging out with Tim and Russ a lot, and we took a lot of abuse for liking Chryslers, for both of them. it was funny because Russ is usually the quiet one. He was busting our balls as much about Chryslers as Tim was, so which was good. Russ is back to work, which is awesome for him. But he had the idea. He was trying to talk Tim into buying a house in Florida because apparently Florida is nicer than Ohio in winter. Who would have thunk it? So, but it was good to hang out with those guys.
Can't get my head around it.
They're definitely looking forward to Capital City Carnage. Things are looking really good for that. We talked about it quite a bit. Just Derby World's in a good spot right now and only looking up. And it was great to we met a lot of new people down there and a lot of supporters. So just looking forward to it, man. It's demo season. Let's get on with it.
Season. That's right. It is. We had a little bit of a melt while we were gone. I saw the snow wasn't nearly as...
Yeah. I think it warmed up to like 40 or something when we were gone.
I missed it.
Yeah.
Missed all of it. But I guess that's going to do it for this one again. I opened the show with that news about Tegan. They're on their way up to the 7th floor again of that hospital. The kid has spent so much time there. So wish him a quick and speedy recovery. I know he's anxious to get little what they call it. It was mini me, the mini me. He's got to get that back up to him in Minnesota. And again, I'm not. I don't want to come off as angry or as one making excuses. That's not what I do. I offer full transparency on anything, and I'll answer you honestly. You might not like the answer, but I'll answer you honestly. I don't make excuses. I made some mistakes in how things were set up, trying to make that thing as bulletproof as possible, and didn't check one of the easy things that I check every time, and didn't even tell anybody that was down there about it in terms of the audio side of things. If anybody has any questions, comments whatsoever, you're welcome to send them along. Again, I'll answer you honestly, but I'm not going to either pull punches to save your feelings at this point either.
Nope. Beyond that,
we're trying to make things continue to move forward, and I'm hoping that everybody else that's aligns with whomever you may align with in the course of this discussion shares that opinion, because ultimately, at the end of the day, no matter who you're watching or what you're watching, we want to push forth the best presentation possible so that you at home are entertained with a usable product. That, I believe, is going to suffice as a final word on that. There's no need to continue to perpetuate this. We've multiple times now come on here and said enough is enough. Here's the olive branches. Cut it out. And now we find ourselves saying it again. Enough is enough. We're all working for the same end goal. That's going to do it for this edition of Crash Course from the North Park building here at Academy Square. Actually, it's not, because I didn't cue up this outro correctly. But, all right, now it can be. 2:16. It's in the books. We're going to be back here next Monday. We appreciate everybody coming on. We're going to be talking more about Capital City Carnage next week. It'll be a fun conversation to get into. We'll see everybody then.
Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derby, who hosts Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of May Mania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.